Good morning, October 25th, 2022, on a weekday. It's a day that ends with Y. Oh, it's a Tuesday. I'm going to get a confirmation here that I've got audio coming through. Let's see here. Audio coming through. Yep, there's audio coming through. And Ran Israel asks, is today's topic a mystery? Yeah, it is as far as you're concerned. I know what it is, but you don't know what it is yet. Tony Wallow knows what it is. The rest of you don't know. Tony Wallow sent me an email this morning, and I think Ken Stout made a hint to it during the my Fortnite stream this morning. He says, I'm having an issue with my iPad 5th gen. I put in a support call with Apple. I'll keep you posted. This related to iOS 16, no Wi-Fi connection. So that's pretty brief comments that he said there, but there's a lot of clues in that as to what's going on. So I'm going to take a stab at it and see if it either fixes the problem or jives with what Apple tells him later. So I know he's dealing with an iPad, a 5th gen. When I read that, I didn't know how old is 5th gen. So I wanted to find that out. And I'll clue you in on that in a moment. And then iOS 16. So when did that come up? And it's Wi-Fi connection. So mainly four things there. It's an iPad. It's a 5th gen iPad. It's iOS 16 and this Wi-Fi connection problem. So I did some Google searching. So let's see how this thought process goes through. So I start with iPad generations. Well, what iPad generation is this? And I've got a few results here scrolling down. I got, yeah, this does get to it, but there's a better one here coming up on one of these tabs, I think. So these are iPhones, scroll down to iPad. So here's iPad 5th generation. This iPad 5th generation is the oldest one in this whole list of straight iPads. Notice iPad Pro 5th generation, we haven't even got to that yet. iPad Mini 5th generation is a separate item. So he said iPad 5th gen. So I'm going to say it's a straight regular iPad, and it is the oldest that iOS 16 supports. Is that what this page is? Yeah, iPad OS 16 will support the following. So that's the oldest one that iOS 16 would support. And then the next thing I had to find out, well, when did iOS 16 came out? Well, it turns out it just came out. Here's October 24th, yesterday on iPad. So that means likely Tony just upgraded the iPad to that version. And I go through looking for some other things. Here's again iPad 10th generation down to 5th generation. So again, showing us that the iPad 5th generation is a little bit older. So then I looked at, well, turning it off and on. That's press and hold the top button until the Apple logo appears, and then you drag a slider. So that was one thought that just came off my head, top of my head. But let's go on. We're not ready to stop at that. iPad generation 5, revert to prior operating system. I thought, well, maybe that's an option. But no, let's don't go that way, because we have better information coming up here. And here, how do I switch back to an older version of iOS software? This area was indicating you really can't do it unless you did a backup to iTunes before upgrade. But let's not go down that path, rejecting that option. So then I did a search, iOS 16 Wi-Fi issues on iPad generation 5. Here's top 10 fixes to Wi-Fi not working after iOS 16.15. So one of the questions Tony has, I don't know if other people are having this problem. I think the fact that we have this search result says, yes, other people are having this problem. There's some information here about what to do, but I'm going to go ahead on to another tab that I have open. iOS 16 problems, iPhone Wi-Fi not working. Now, iPhone, iPad, close enough that we're going to take a closer look at this. There are many iDevice issues. So iPad, iPhone, many devices. Users grumbling at iOS 16 Wi-Fi issues. So yes, other people are having this problem. If you are facing iPhone Wi-Fi issue not working on iOS 16, like iPhone won't connect to Wi-Fi, here are the fixes. And I've got a few tabs that have these fixes, and they're mostly variations on the same idea. Come down here, what causes the problem to happen? Software updates, could be Wi-Fi router, could be overheated Wi-Fi chip. Now let's go, I'll go ahead and put this link into chat. But there's more to come up with. Where is that tab? Where is that tab? Here, over here. So I'll put that in. There's that first link, the one that I'm looking at now. That was over here. Scrolling down, reset the phone. Of course, restarting the phone is the first of those, or the iPad. I'm using those synonymously. But then here's the one that I'm probably most optimistic about, because this is the easiest to do. This is one that I've done many times on different devices. When I take my own iPhone into a client's office and I can't connect, this is the option that I'll do. Actually, not reset network settings. That's not the one I wanted, but rather, is it going to show me it here? I want to forget that connection. You know what? I don't see it on this one. Let me go to this next one and see if it's showing us the nice pictures. Here it is. Now this is showing it on a phone, but it's similar on iPad. When you get to these are remembered connections. So likely when Tony upgraded to the new iOS version, it still shows his Wi-Fi connection in here. So you want to click on the eye here, or touch it, and choose to forget. It doesn't actually show what that screen looks like, but when you touch the eye there, then you get an option to forget this network or forget this device. So what that means is the settings that your iPad has remembered for your home Wi-Fi service, you're going to tell it to forget that, and then you're going to reconnect to it as though it's a new Wi-Fi connection. And that causes your iPad or iPhone, whatever device it is, to reconfigure that wireless connection. And this is something to use on any device that's not connecting Wi-Fi, even a computer or a laptop. It's not connecting to your Wi-Fi. Forget that connection. Tell your device to forget the connection and then recreate it. And then this next one that we saw on the previous page is to reset network settings. There's an option here to reset network settings. Of course, the screen looks a little different on the iPad, but this would be the basics to go through that the Apple support technician will certainly take you through. Now, I don't know if Tony's already done this stuff, but since he asked if other people are having this problem, I'm guessing that he hasn't gone looking for this, since we did find Google search results saying, yes, people are having problem with this. So let me put this link into chat, because this is not the previous one that I put in. If I can remember how to get to that screen. Here it is. And go paste it over here. Now let's see what's being said along here. Tony says AVDVR, good. Ken Stouthouse, Wi-Fi issues. The video of many Dougs. Okay, if you're tired of seeing that, I'll pop out chat so that you're not seeing all of that. And then zoom up a couple times. People saying, good morning. I've only ever used my home Wi-Fi, never any other Wi-Fi. I have so many Wi-Fis on my laptop and my phone, because when I go to clients' offices, I connect to them. Selden Ball says, I upgraded 16.1 without bothering to do QA backup. QA, what's that? I don't know. All previous upgrades had no problems. I'm using the 5 gigahertz band, not the slower one. And the same model seems to be working okay. And it also could be the router. So we're going to need to talk about that a little bit. Let's see what we got going on here. The many things going on in the background when you connect to a router, and then you reinitialize. All right, yes. So let's go back over to these websites. The router issue. Actually, I didn't stumble across a web page that talks specifically about the router, but it is possible that the router that Tony has And the iPad with the newer operating system, there could be a conflict there. There could be an issue where the router is either an older model router, Wi-Fi access point, Wi-Fi router, whatever the combination is. It could be an older one or it could be a very new one. In either case, could have a problem. For instance, a very new Wi-Fi router might be having a problem with the older iPad generation and the newest operating system. Now, it might be sufficient. That's a case where it could be completely sufficient to forget the connection and recreate it. However, there's another little more remote possibility of maybe having to go into the router and enable some other feature on that router in order to get this iPad with this operating system to work. Now that's kind of really getting deep into the weeds, and he's probably not going to need to go that far. Now, for all I know, I don't know if he's restarted the iPad again since the Wi-Fi problem appeared. When he did the upgrade to iOS 16, that would have restarted the iPad, but that's not good enough. I want to see on any device, a computer, a laptop, a phone, I want to see a restart, a full proper restart after the symptom has been discovered, because it's quite possible that installed iOS 16 and then discovered there's a problem and discounted, now I'm not pointing a finger at Tony, anybody will do this, discounted the need to restart it because you're saying, well, just restart it. Yeah, but that was during the install. That wasn't a full normal restart. A full normal restart means without any updates happening. After discovering there's a problem, then do a full restart of the device. If that doesn't solve it, then go into forgetting the network. If that doesn't solve it, then go into resetting the network settings. Ken Stout, here's a heads up. I think we're going to be ending this pretty soon. I have 3 client calls that have come in since my fortnight session that I have to get back to before going to my dentist appointment this morning. So I'm a little bit short on time. Going to take a look back at chat and see if there's any further comments worth talking about. Handshaking to the router, that's why deleting or getting the device to forget the previous Wi-Fi connection. Exactly. A typo, just A instead of the QA back there. Now, where was that? I got enough time to look back at that. So that was from Selden Ball when he said something about QA, not the slower. Where was it? I don't know. I'll do a search for QA. 3 of them. Typo, QA. Oh, quality assurance. Oh, that was Jeff. Wait a minute. What? Question mark. Quality assurance. No, that wasn't Selden Ball's QA. Selden Ball. There it is. Upgrade 60 without bothering to do a backup is what he was saying. Okay, gotcha. Thank you. Let's see. Hellos. The router, again, store instructions for settings, handshakes to the old item. Needs a new introduction. Right? Perfect. Sometimes the actual router that needs to be rebooted. Yes, that's another. I'm glad I went back and read this. Reboot your router. Pulling the power plug, leave it unplugged for, I like to go 2 minutes. That's plenty of time. 20 seconds might be enough. You don't know what is enough. Why not just leave it unplugged for 2 minutes? Plug it back in. That's going to refresh all of the IP addresses that have already been assigned. Your router forgets about the IP address it previously had assigned to your phone. Yeah, absolutely restarting the router. But I have more luck, as Doug is implying, with getting the device to forget. Well, wait a minute. I thought Londog was not having trouble. Was it Londog that said he did an update? Is Londog having trouble too? I didn't think so. All right. But anyway, let's move on. The problem with the forget is what was the password. Yeah, you got to, before you forget. Well, I guess if it's not connecting, it doesn't matter anyway. But although some devices, I don't know which ones it is. Some devices, when you go look at the information for that wireless connection, you can actually display the password. So be sure you know what the password is, or find out what it is before you forget the connection. The reason for before you forget the connection, because when you go look at the details of that connection, if you have an option there for displaying the password, you want to do that before forgetting the connection. Seldom Ball using a TP-Link doesn't support Wi-Fi 6. Now that I was wondering about that too. If the older router doesn't support the newer Wi-Fi protocol that iOS 16 might be trying to use, maybe there's an option within iOS 16 to tell it to use an older protocol, and that iOS 16 by default is using a newer protocol that your older router doesn't support. Apple's quality control. Now I'll resist that a little bit. It's important for manufacturers to be upgrading operating systems for us to provide better, newer, higher levels of security. So the possibility that will on occasion cause a problem or extra hurdles to jump over for an older device, that's okay, that a person has to go through that extra struggle to fix something that gets broken on, in this case, the oldest iPad that iOS 16 supports. Yeah, it supports it, but maybe you have to do some futzing to get it to work right. I'll allow them that, because if they prevent that struggle for the people that have the older devices, that is probably going to be at the cost of reducing security, meaning if they automatically allow the older devices to use the older protocol, that maybe means all the devices are allowed to use the older protocol, and they want to try to get the older devices to use the newer protocol. I don't know that I've said that very well, but there's something around in there that I'll defend, that they don't have to make it completely trouble-free for the oldest of the devices that they support. With PCs, there's such a variety of PCs and chip manufacturers, all kinds of variables, absolutely. On the Apple product, Oh No is so user-friendly. But on an Apple product, Oh No is so user-friendly. Yeah, I probably didn't catch that. Let's see. Hellos. Lawn Dog does not deal with Apple products. Don't like the close rule, the propaganda. Jeff, I don't use Apple products, but I love when Apple's tacos app. I have Apple iPhone and the iWatch. My understanding is the iPad 5th gen doesn't have the IPv6 hardware. That sounds rather likely. So if that's the case, there may be an option to get the iPad to allow the older protocol. It might be some menu option in network settings somewhere. It might be that forgetting and recreating network connections, the router and the iPhone renegotiate together and realize that they have to use the older protocol, and will automatically do that. Something along those lines, I suspect. I agree, old Apple product cannot use IPv6. Now the router, if the router is the newest of routers, it might be stuck on IPv6 and not provide the older, but that's IPv6 really hasn't really taken a foothold enough for that to happen. IPv4 is the more popular. So if I go over here on my computer, because you can see this on your computer, if I come up in here to change adapter options, and then come to, let's see, my internet connections, because the IP is here's IP version 4 and IP version 6. IP version is a protocol that is used on both Wi-Fi and Ethernet. So if I come over here, I see that IPv4 and v6 is also available on my Wi-Fi connection. Then we'll go on to some more here and see what we get. That's some background detail conversation. Investment. Oh, Wi-Fi v6. Yes, Wi-Fi has a version number 2. I don't know that I'm going to be able to display that here. Yes, it was a Wi-Fi v6. Good point. I'm glad you mentioned that, because my mind didn't go there. I didn't buy much. Good day. IPv6 is software, not hardware. Yes. Yeah, that's a IPv6 is a internet protocol, but Wi-Fi v6 is specifically Wi-Fi. Okay. I think we've probably done enough there. I don't see any comments in there coming back from Tony. So those are thoughts for Tony to check out while he's waiting for Apple tech support to get back to him. Here's my email address if you'd like to send a technical question that I could cover on into the Windows Daily. That's a great way to use that address. And because today that kind of saved me from my topic. The other topic that I was preparing for today was the YouTube handles. Is that what they call it? Yeah, YouTube handles. And that whole subject to explain what I know about that and the approach I'm taking. And I want to change the URL for my Grandpa Doug Learns Fortnite channel. And that feature that YouTube's been promoting to people isn't available to me yet, but I want to use the old method for doing a custom URL. Although, yeah, I looked at that today. They have disabled that while they're trying to implement this new feature. So I'm not sure I can even do that. Wi-Fi v6 is the name for the 6 gigahertz band. Is that what it is? Yeah, I didn't think that was the case, but I haven't researched it. I have Wi-Fi 6, 6E, or speeds up to 4 and 6. It might be. I reset my phone Wi-Fi just now seemed to help. Oh, so maybe that helped Ken. All right, very good. That's the end. Ken, oh, wait a minute. No. Ken, I haven't done the redirect yet because you didn't schedule your stream before I did mine. So let's come up here to edit. We're going to come down here, I think it's to customization, and do a redirect. And we're going to redirect to Ken's Daily Da Vinci for October 25th. Click on that and then save that. So that means when I end the stream that you should get an invitation to go to Ken's Daily Da Vinci stream. So that's it. I hope that was useful. Have a great day. Catch you later. Goodbye.